What's going on, guys? I'm here with Mr. Noel from Chess Club. Absolutely wonderful person, great friend of mine, someone who I've actually had the chance to finally meet going to nationals and such, and look forward to seeing you at Worlds. But I brought you on today because I want to talk about Path of Silver. I want to get your real life testimonial. You went to Houston, you did Path of Silver, and from what I gather, it seemed like it was a pretty good idea. So, I mean, just tell us about yourself.
It's like I said, my name is Noel. I'm one of the players in Chess Club. We're a competitive Grand Archive team. We occasionally make videos. We're trying to make more videos, but it's just hard with finding the time with all the testing for events. It eats up a lot of the time, but we're trying to make more videos. We're having fun with it. But yeah, and I've been in the Grand Archive community since just a little bit after Dawn of Ashes release, so just after like the start of the game. And yeah, like you said, I did Path of Silver at Houston. And notably, I did it while competing in Path of Steel.
So now that is an impressive feat, especially considering. So in the current format with Path of Silver at Worlds, it's going to be submitted via Omnidex, and then you can have anyone go submit your verifications. Whereas with Houston, it was actually all done by hand. So that was a lot more arduous, especially if you were playing at the same time, right?
Yeah, I only managed to complete it thanks to the help of Brightwing and RM.
Yeah, some absolutely fantastic people as well.
Yeah, yep.
You love Bright Smile.
Yeah, exactly. A Bright Smile. The only reason I got it done. And yeah, so because Steel had the idea for the two tournaments is that you're not meant to do both, and I kind of greedily says I can do both, and I don't know if I would recommend doing both. You can, but it will make the day more stressful for you and make you pretty time pressured.
Mm-hmm. So theoretically, though, with since the change to Omnidex, you could probably ask a friend to like do the submission for you, right?
Yeah, almost certainly.
And even submit for you because I think all they need is like a login to your Omnidex. So if you log in on your on their tablet or something, you should be able to theoretically submit it, right?
Presumably. I haven't heard too much about exactly how it's going to work at Worlds, but yeah, presumably. So the physical writing it out took so much time, and it was a big headache. Yeah, and so I agreed to ID my last round at at Steel with Limelight, and so we were both 502 going to the last round. We ID'd, so we would just guarantee lock the day to day 2 cut. But part of the reason I did it is because I needed to submit my Path of Silver thing, and Brightwing was like in the process of writing it out for me because I ran to him for them. I'm like, hey, Bright, the last round is starting, and submissions close in 40 minutes. Like it was if I played the round and there went to time, Path of Silver commissions were going to close. I'm like, can you please write that out for me? And he was like, sure. You know, great guy, amazing guy. I was like, I still feel bad kind of having him do it though. And so we drew and I went back and I did the rest of the submission. And it still took like 30 minutes or something. It was arduous, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, a 50 card submission to write out by hand. And then you also had to write out the set bonuses, right? That you were using?
Yes. Well, so I just ignored any of the FEMA scores.
Oh, you just wrote total score.
I just wrote total score. Because I said, there's no way I'm getting a top 8. And that's I actually went back recently. I was like, I wonder how close was I? And I think I was moderately close. I think it was like if I had more time and like made an effort, I could have gotten top 8 in Charm. Because I was at like 32K-ish on my Charm score. And what I've heard is that like the top sessions were like 35, 36, around there for like the lower threshold. So I think I might have been able to get it. But, I was very happy with what I got overall.
Yeah, and so, I mean, we showed it earlier in the video, but we basically talked about your submission. We looked at your spreadsheet, which was done, and then your actual submission, like the picture of your submission. And if I recall correctly, you only had like 20 foils or something and no CSRs?
20 foils. 20 foils, no CSRs. The foils were all DOA Alter. The non-foils were first edition because I had them and they're worth marginally more points, but I don't think it mattered. I believe my total submission score was like 104K. So if it was all Alter, I'm pretty sure it still would have been over 100K.
Yeah, it would have been like right there. So it's pretty negligible. Maybe one more foil would have set you over or something.
Yep. And so the fun fact is the 20 foils that I use in it, a couple of them were borrowed from friends, but otherwise that was about like half of the foils that I owned at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually almost didn't even do silver. I wasn't planning on it. And then I saw a post from TR in the Discord saying that, like, from what he'd heard from like Silidar and Aldeus and the other devs, that they thought you'd be able to hit like the different thresholds with a very modest collection. That like 30k, I think the first one's 30k, right? Not 40k.
I believe it's 40k now.
40k.
I'm not sure
so,
if that's changed, but I believe it's 40k,
okay.
70k, and 100k now.
Okay, yeah. So the 40k one, he said was gonna be like literally anyone can get. Like if you own cards, basically you can get it. And or maybe that's not quite true. If you don't have a star deck, it's not gonna work. But if you have like any amount of cards, really, you're gonna be able to get 40k. And then the 70k you can get with like a little bit of effort of getting the class bonuses, or like not the class bonuses, like the set bonuses. And then 100k, like you might need like a bit more to go for. Like you're gonna probably need a lot of foils and everything like that. But I was like, hey, it sounds like I'll do it, right? Like I can just do it on the side, ignoring that it's meant to be an entire main event on its own. And I was like, I can just do it on the side in between rounds, kind of thing. And like, it'll be fun. And so I went and I bought a Path of Silver ticket. There were still tons available. And I'm like, even if stuff happens, I still get an entry promo for it. I still get extra store tickets. So I was like, on that alone.
Quick question there.
Probably.
Were you bought the ticket before the event, right? Like, because when the event starts, you can't buy the ticket anymore. You have to buy it before.
Yeah, this was in like July or something.
Okay,
or
that makes sense.
Maybe August. But yeah, like around there. So there was still a good lead time. And so I knew ahead of time. And so because of that, I made an effort. So like what I then brought, I collected some foils, but all the foils I had were just what I opened from boxes, and I did not open that many boxes.
Or like,
I opened like
event packs and stuff, right?
I didn't even open any event
Actually,
packs.
no, because I bought all your event packs.
Yeah, you bought all my event packs. So I was just
I forgot about that.
Like, why would I open the event packs? I'm like, I can open them for a chance of a CSR, or I'm seeing people are selling them at a rate that's like about on average for a CSR. So I can open for a gamble, or I can sell for the average. I'm like, I'll just go for that. And so I just stocked up all my event packs.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty smart, especially if like even though event packs are searchable and stuff, like as long as you buy from someone who's trusted, like it's really not a big deal.
Right. But after that, I decided I kind of want to open event packs because it's fun seeing people open event packs. And so since then, a bit after Houston, I guess probably like mid-November is when I started like, I'll start opening my packs. But yeah, but any of this though, I had like no packs or no foils basically. I had the foils.
I mean, it sounds like you had like 20 foils and you only used 10 of them.
Or no, I had like 30 and I used like 20 basically.
I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I had some from some DOA boxes, some FTC boxes, and like a couple I gotten in trades because they were cool. And then at the event, I bought like a couple from Moose because I was like, I'm not sure exactly what my total score is going to be, but he has these couple extra Crux foils here that are pretty cheap. And I'm like, here's $15. I got a Dispersion and I got a Ghost Strike, I think.
God, I wish I could buy cards like that for that. Whoa.
They've fallen in value now. They're not worth it anymore. I checked recently, I'm like, Dispersion foils like $3. I'm like, ugh. Oh, well.
Yeah, there's some. It's funny though because Ascension foil I think is like $35 still.
That's insane.
For Altar.
That's insane.
For Altar specifically.
That's crazy.
I mean, this is a fantastic art, right? So it makes and the foils themselves are actually rare and they look really good. So.
Yeah, and also Ascension's like a classic Grand Archive card. Like, there's a reason they made the Nats promo Ascension.
Ascension is the only deck I enjoy playing.
Yeah.
Is Prismatic Merlin, all colors.
But
yeah, so you mentioned that you bought some foils from Moose. So that's something that I actually want to talk about in the video as well. When it comes to like, oh, I'm gonna bring my collection. What if I don't have enough cards? What if I don't have enough foils? Blah blah blah. So on top of being able to go to what's going to be trade night, which is the Friday of Worlds, we're also gonna have vendors at the event. So you'll be able to purchase cards. You'll be able to purchase foils. You'll be able to purchase boxes and other things. And then there are plenty of people who generally will be happy to trade. A lot of the silver players tend to be like very trade focused unless they're like right in the middle of calculating their submission stuff. So if you guys are ever worried about, oh, you know, I don't have this non-foil or I don't have this and this, like surely you'll be able to find it one way or another. Either if it's like a non-foil and it's cheap, someone might just give you one or loan you one. If it's like something a little more expensive, you can probably trade for it or pick it up from a vendor. But I guess what I'm trying to stress here is that like the accessibility of cards for silver is really high, and like you've said with your submission, getting to that 100k threshold is not super difficult, and it's not like a really high cost entry.
Yeah.
Right, like if you're trying to get a theme score or you're trying to get top 8, like the cost to entry is like unspeakable amounts of money that I don't want to talk about because I don't want to think about how much I spent on this game.
Especially for top 8. Thema should be a lot more forgiving, because in theory, all the people that are buying tons of CSRs and Kurs are going for top 8. So theoretically, hopefully, this could just be copium, but hopefully the top 8 Thema scores should be a lot easier to get into. Still challenging, of course. Like you're gonna have, but like you need to make your submission dedicated to, I'm gonna get a top 8 for this, and not a top 8 for overall.
Yeah, and then another thing with the themas is like, I guess this is just a side note to mention, but if the people are going for top 8, generally that also leans really heavily into one thema. So because of like the set bonuses and stuff, a lot of top 8 submissions nowadays will most likely be top 8 and a top 8 thema of one specific type. So if you are planning on going for a thema, probably calculate them out and adjust accordingly to which one you want to go for.
Yeah, definitely worth considering. I have 2 that I'm gonna like flip flop between. I'm gonna go for a top 8 thema at Worlds. And it's gonna depend on, like you said, which one does it look like the total score is gonna be leaning towards, and I'll dodge that one. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, my guess is gonna overlap the most with Mystique.
That hurts me so much because that's the only one that I
want. So my reasoning for that is because. And this could just be from the sample that I had when I was at Houston, but what a lot of the high scoring ones that like jumped out to me were like the Lorraine Crux one, the Rai Arcane one, and then we know that, I mean, we can, I guess no, but we can deduce that there's gonna be something similar, like there's gonna be like a Tony Neos, there's gonna be an Arasana Astra, there'll be a Diana Umbra one. Arasana Astra has some of like the most number of arts for her, and she's Mystique. So that's why I'm guessing Mystique's gonna be kind of higher up, but we'll see.
Yeah. So moving on, I guess I have like, what would you give as a tip to someone if they were asking you, like, you know, should I do silver? Is it worth it? Blah blah blah. Like, what kind of factors do you take into account there?
First of all, I'd say absolutely worth it. It's super. I don't want to say it's easy to do. It's very accessible. It's easy to do in the same way that doing Path of Steel is very easy. You show up with a deck and you play, right? So it's very accessible. I went with, the BCW makes those like cardboard boxes that are, like this big around, and
like 800
cards.
Yeah. Oh, like the really small
ones. The really, the ones are like the width of a, so one like that, or even ones that are like one.
This is actually quite literally a 300, so it's perfect.
Yeah, so there's 300, and then there's also like I think there are 500 then.
They have all the sizes. Wider. There's like 3, 5, 8, and then like 1K.
Yeah, so my silver collection that I brought with me to Houston I can't remember, it was either a 300 count or a 500 count. And it was just one copy of every card in Dawn of Ashes and one copy of every card in FTC. And then I had my binder with me, like my trade binder that had my foils in it. And that was it. So it was very easy, just like, I threw it into my suitcase, didn't even put it in my backpack, just threw the extra box in my suitcase. And there we go, I have my silver stuff with me. And they'll then release the set bonuses morning of. And so you can scroll through them, and then you either pick out the ones that you like, or if you're trying to optimize it, you are going to want to do some math about like what's going to give you the most number of points per card, things like that. So there's different tiers doing it, but like kind of said earlier, getting to 40K is super easy. Getting 70K is doable if you just put a little bit of like focus into it. And then already you're making your effort back in terms of value, because those the promos are worth a lot of money. Like what are they up to right now?
If I recall correctly, the Houston Inspiring Call non-foil is $150, and the foil is about $300. And that doesn't include the promos for entry. So, like you said, the non-foil hasties and the hasties. So the non-foil hasty messengers are about 15 to 20, and the foil hasty messengers are about 30 to 30 range. So, like, if you get 100K, you get a foil, a non-foil, and a playmat. And I mean, today's market value, that's probably around $550, 500-ish. If you exclude
Yeah, that sounds
shipping.
about right.
If you lowball it, like, I mean, that's still $450, right? If you sell them at the event, you could probably get cash for it too. So like, there's no shipping involved. It's very quick and fast. So like, the overall value sounds fantastic for silver, right? A lot of people look at it and they're really daunted by the fact they're like, oh, it's for collectors, but it's really for everyone.
Yeah, it's like kind of like saying a competitive tournament is only for like competitive players, right?
Exactly.
Where like, no, anyone can go and play in the tournament and have fun, and anyone can go and play in silver and have fun. But also with silver, because the tier rewards, which I really like, I think it's an awesome thing. And I think, did they even say there was something that they said recently? It might have been even in the anniversary stream recently, where they talked about silver, saying that they really want it to be like accessible to people of the different tiers. That having those tiered rewards, though, it just makes it feel like if there was only the top 8 thema, I would say don't bother. If you are like, unless you're like going for it. But because there's those tiers, incredibly worth it.
Yeah, for sure. Because like when you think about that in the long term, it's like if you go and you're just going to have fun with people, right? Like you have your hotel cost, your flight cost. If you do silver, you recoup like what, anywhere between $300 and like maybe $700, depending on the price of things.
Yeah,
it just doesn't feel like there's a reason to skip that when the ticket's $60. And with most of the Ascents, the tickets tend to just pay for themselves. Because you get Ascent tickets to buy. So you get, if you buy the cheapest ticket, it's $66 after tax, if I recall correctly, USD. So then you get 400. Do you get 400 Ascent tickets for the basic ticket or not? You can do.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's one playmat, right?
Yeah. All tickets come with tickets.
Yeah. So that's one playmat, and then your entry to Path to Silver. So if you submit to, let's say, only 40K, you get a non-foil, you get one mat with your store. Like that doubles the cost of the ticket already that you paid. And all you have to do is own cards, which most likely, if you're going to a Grand Archive event, you probably already own cards, and you probably already like the game. So I guess I'm just really trying to stress here, like, the value of it, right? So like, there's going to be other interviews here talking with people who do compete for top 8 and other types of collectors. But I felt like this interview with you, Noel, was perfect for the community as a whole. Because even in Merlin's, where like you and I chat every day with our friends and other community members, there are so many people who don't know the value of getting 100K and how accessible it is. I don't want to say easy, but I really want to say easy because it's really easy.
I don't want to undersell it because Path of Silver is like its own thing, right? Like it's meant to be a main event. It is very easy to just go with something for it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I did do it while doing Steel, and I did have help from friends. RM did the majority of the math by submission. We kind of pulled it up. It's just message back and forth, and like Step was revealed saying like, okay, I have these cards. I'm gonna go for these ones. I have these. I sent a picture of my foils. I'm like, looks like these ones. He's like, okay, cool. I got you. And then I was playing, and then he spent like, I think like an hour and a half or something. And he was like, here you go. Here's a list of your thing. And I said, great, thank you.
I mean, even if you like bought him dinner later, like it's still so worth it, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wins here. Everyone wins here.
It defeated the spirit of it a little bit, but also like I felt like I engaged with Silver very nicely because I was thinking about it a lot between rounds. I was like pulling my phone and messing with him about it, and then we had there was like a big round delay, and so I used that time to like start pulling out cards I needed for it and getting foils from Moose and like double checking a bunch of math and everything. And so it's something you can do. It does add a lot of extra stress, and I think that you would get even more out of it if it's the only thing you're doing, or if you're like doing it inside events. I think Path Silver pays super well with side events, and so it's a value thing you can sort of tack on to Steel if you're just going for like those lower thresholds pretty easily. You will be crammed on time. It will add a bunch of stress. Like, so in Chess Club, I think there were 4 or 5 of us that bought silver tickets, and I was the only one that ended up doing it because the rest of us were there were two. Yeah.
Too
so
busy,
I know.
Right?
Yeah. Ver, Crown, Rex, and I think Burner. All 4 of them also had silver tickets. That like they bought silver tickets. They got their entry stuff for it. They had brought their collections with them, and then they just didn't actually do a submission because they just didn't have time to think about it. And so again, that's where like you need a friend. I would highly recommend, if you're going to do Steel and also try to do silver, have a friend that's going to help you with it a lot. And
Yeah, hopefully
But
it'll be easier
worth
for
it.
that friend now with the adjustments to Omnidex. Obviously, we don't know the exact details of it yet. Hopefully, those come soon. Yeah, I mean, that sounds pretty good to me. So, if you were to rate Path of Silver in terms of its value and cost as a competitive player, because you're not like a collector-focused person, right?
Yeah.
What would you give it a score out of 5?
In terms of value and cost, 10 out of 10. Easy.
Absolutely. 100%. It's the
Slam
best.
dunk.
Slam dunk.
Like I said, it paid for my hotel. So I instant sold the promos. I kept the mat because the mat's really cool.
You want to show everyone the mat?
I can. I have my
It's okay.
wall
It'll like
here.
kind of look how cool these mats
There we
are.
go. That one.
Yeah, so it's the one in the top there.
Uh,
I'll bother Mitch
there
for
we
a
go.
nice photo of it later.
Yeah. But so the mat's awesome. It's a good like sentimental thing for me. But I sold the promos instantly. Paid for my hotel, which was very worth it. And I felt like I still got a lot of enjoyment out of doing the Path to Silver stuff. I do have a fond memory of I missed the check-in during day 2 because I was playing in Steel. And I finished a round. I had like 20 minutes left. I'm like, I pull my phone. I don't have a watch. I pull my phone. I'm like, oh no, I missed the check-in by like 15 minutes. And so I ran over. I'm like, where's the check-in area? Went over there, and Sit Sakras was standing over there. And I said, hello, I'd like to do my silver check-in. He just looked at me. He's like, are you this number? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, check-in closed 20 minutes ago. I'm like, I know. I was playing in Steel. And he was like, and he pulled up. He had like my list submission there. He looked at it and he said, oh, you're not going for top 8. It's fine. And he sat me down and he did my whole check-in right there.
You're not going
He's
for
like-
top. It's fine.
He's like, yeah, no, you're going for just point thresholds. You're fine. I got this.
Yeah,
and
we
so
love
had a
Roger.
little bit of banter.
Roger's
It was
the best.
it was fun. Was stressful, and that was generous. I did genuinely miss it. So I felt like I got lucky. I got lucky on multiple accounts for a silver. With Omnidex submission, that should be able to become a lot easier, like you were saying. But slam dunk value 10 to 10, and if you have more time to put into it, I think you'll get even more enjoyment out of it. We'll be able to trade, really be able to like crunch some numbers, figure out like the perfect submission you want. I'm gonna be trying to do that at Worlds as well. So I'm going back for round 2. If that's
round two, playing Steel and Silver
I'm playing
again.
in 3v3, and I'm trying to go for a top 8 submission or top 8 FEMA. We'll see how it works. I'm putting a lot of faith in Omnidex saving some time.
Yeah, well, the nice thing is you won't have to be there to verify your cards this time. You can actually give your cards to someone else, and they can like take it to the verification.
Yeah.
So that should hopefully help. But
Hopefully.
besides that, thank you so much for your time, Noel. I really appreciate the interview here, the chance to kind of give a testimonial to players who are like unsure about Path of Silver. You know,
do it.
I feel like
100%.
it just fits, right? I really want people to I want to say compete more, but I want to say participate, because I think that's really what it is.
Yeah.
I want people to
I would say
participate more in Path of Silver. Any
I
last things you wanna say? Any suggestions or anything?
I was gonna bounce off that for a second and say, yeah, I participate is an actual way of putting it. Just talking with people, talk about like because there's no, if you're just going for thresholds, there's no competition to it. So you can like give yourself advice like, oh, this category here or something, or like, yeah, I have these extra foils, I can lend them to you, or I can sell them to you, or something like that. And anything like that, you get a whole lot of great community. I've had multiple friends who are like, yeah, like if you need foils, I can borrow them. Like I borrowed foils from Vern Burner because they didn't end up doing it, so they had these stuff that I could use. And so it helps bring together people for like enjoying the collection aspect of the game, which is really, really cool, and getting rewards for it. I think is just, it's awesome. So if you're unsure about silver, do silver. 100%. Go and do it.
You're the man. Do silver, guys. Do silver.
Yeah. Now I'll see you everyone at Worlds.
Yeah, thank you so much again, guys. This was Noel from Chess Club. He'll be competing in the 3v3 event. He's a fantastic player. Make sure you guys check out all of their YouTube links and all the stuff. I'll be posting everything in the description below and on screen. You can click that, and make sure to check out all the Lux.
Yeah.